riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that we has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
Tim Richardson.
Is the other. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing good,
Are you doing great?
Yeah, I would say I'm doing great.
Does that have anything to do with the upbeat and pop sounds you've been listening to all week?
It does. I am energized. I have purchased a fair amount of clothing from a very specific dealer.
You're a regular Bubble Pop Electric. Well, let's not keep everyone in suspense. What album are we talking about this week?
This week, we are talking about Gwen Stefani's Love Angel Music Baby, or Lamb, which was released November 12th, 2004.
Boy, rolls right off the tongue, huh? Love Angel Music Baby.
It does.
This was a huge departure for us, right? We've been mired down in heavy metal and new metal and all the bad metal, and here we are in a light, effervescent, and bubbly album. Let me ask that all too important question. Do you hate this album?
I don't think so. I don't think I hate this.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly don't like it.
Let's just say for now, you love it.
After 2 to 3 listens, I loved it.
Okay.
And it was terrible, but I still loved it. I've listened to this probably 15 times.
That's the problem with the length of this album. It
Yeah.
facilitates excessive listening, because I too have hit this baby at least 15 times. I listened to it 6 times today. 2 of those were on accident.
Yeah, it does, you hit repeat and you don't realize it, because it smoothly transitions from the end to the beginning again.
That's not accurate.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. The point is, this has been a weird week. What about you,
Interesting.
Garrett? How much did you love this album?
Tim, you gotta ask it right.
Garrett, did you hate this?
I don't hate it, Tim. I don't hate it. I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it. But I don't hate it.
I'm going to make you
don't
hate this by the end.
Yeah, we'll see at the end of the hour. As of right now, I can't hate it. It would be wrong of me to hate it. Let me ask you, is this your first foray into the Gwenosphere?
I'd heard maybe a single one of these songs on the radio, although I didn't know who sang it. I have heard Tragic Kingdom by No Doubt, the one with the annoying spiderweb song on it. I think that's about it.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Back in the ska days.
Also known as Everyday for Tim?
Well,
You love ska.
Yeah.
Although you were probably a little disappointed given your love of ska and the lack of ska in this album.
that's true. There were some horns, though.
Oh, it's not scaless. No one's calling this bad boy scaless.
Have you heard this before?
Yes and no. Unlike you, I did know who sang the one song on this I had heard, because I had a small love affair with the song Holla Back Girl in the mid-aughts, and by that I mean I used to enjoy putting it on people's computers, changing the password, and locking the screen.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that's about me in 2004. So I did, in fact, know this song. I knew it was Gwen Stefani, so I'm a little older than you, not much, depending on what calendar you use. I recall the days of No Doubt. I am pretty well versed in the No Doubt back catalog from various roller skating parties and trips with mom to the dentist. It was on the radio pretty consistently from 1994 to 2000. Other than that, as for my Gwen background, aside from Holla Back Girl, I had never heard any one of these songs, and frankly, Tim, I can understand why. They don't hold a candle to that gem. I knew the Holla Back Girl song, although I thought I knew it. I should say that I didn't really know it. Now I know it. I've lived it. I am, Tim, a Holla Back Girl.
And it is Holla Back Girl, right? That's the name of it.
What else would it be?
The first time I heard this, that she was saying, I ain't no holla black girl, I was
no.
very confused.
Now, it would have fit because I'm going to use a term made popular by modern parlance. This album, by today's standards, may very well be problematic.
Yeah, in a number of areas, yeah.
If she was, in fact, declaring her holla black girlness, that probably wouldn't have been terrifically out of place with the additional, at best, cultural appropriation, at worst, blatant racism? Yeah, I don't want to...
In 2004, America wasn't as woke as you and I are today.
I've got more wokeness in my left pocket than all of 2004 combined. I assume you've gathered some sort of creepy and completely inexplainable dossier on Gwen Stefani. Should the FBI ever seize your computer?
Miss Stefani, she was born in 1969. She's from Fullerton, the best city in California. Completely uneventful history until she's about 17. Did you find anything?
No, this was sort of odd. This show's not known for its wild theories, so I want to make sure that I don't get us off track. But the complete lack of a personal bio, after we've done so many episodes and been able to find such rich details as apple and pony farms.
Right, Russian spy.
Interesting. Boy, that I was gonna say some sort of AI-style robot.
That's what you always say, though. Somebody's got to be a Russian spy. They can't all be robots.
I guess.
Anyway.
I feel like you're too obsessed with this 2018 fake news business. I don't want to introduce wild theories. The lack of a personal history is suspicious. We'll leave it there for now.
Yes, so from birth to 17, nothing happened. Whenever she was 17, in 1986, she joined the band No Doubt. And I have to say, no idea that they'd been around that long.
I didn't either. I was rather stunned to find out how old she was.
Early 90s, yeah. She joined the band on the invite of her brother, who had met the lead singer, John Spence, at a Dairy Queen.
That's exactly how Led Zeppelin formed.
Yes. Anyway, her brother was the band's keyboardist, and he would go on eventually to become a Simpsons animator, which I think is strange.
Given that he doesn't live in South Korea, yeah.
Then they jumped headfirst into the sound we all know and love, ska.
Oh yeah, they went face first into ska.
Original lead vocalist John Spence kills himself a few days prior to what would probably have been an early break for their band. Kills himself in 1987, 3 days before they were going to play a show at the Roxy in Hollywood.
Ooh.
The band breaks up, as you do. Then they decided that what the group had built so far was far more important and superseded any one person. Basically, I think they decided that in 8 years, the world really needed to hear just a girl. And I agree. So they soldier on. In the early 90s, they made a couple records on Interscope, which didn't sell, at least at first, particularly well, because the world was taking a short ska break to listen to grunge. Ska would be back, of course.
I'm so glad you've said that, because the first wave of the ska revolution definitely took place in the 80s, but I'll be goddamned if it just took a small vacation and was headed right back to the mainstream in the late 90s.
It is the genre with the best staying power, I think. We can.
Who knew?
Yeah,
I think first
who
of
and
all,
also
you and I,
why and what and.
Well, we didn't even realize we were listening to ska. That's how they get you.
It is an insidious.
It's the
genre.
swine flu of music.
During this period in the early 90s, she did some guest vocals for a couple of people, including Sublime on what I would consider Sublime's worst album and future podcast episode, Robin the Hood. And as they're moving into Tragic Kingdom time, she would cite Blondie as an inspiration for her to sex up both her vocal delivery and stage performance, which apparently worked because they had huge success in 95 with the aforementioned Tragic Kingdom.
Yeah, they're basically non-existent till that album.
And by this point, Kurt Cobain's dead, ska is back, and that album sold 16 fucking million copies.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So if she did nothing else after that, all set.
Yes. What we need to remember for part of this is, as she's coming into the album we're going to be talking about, she's very wealthy.
That is important.
She has had a ton of success so far.
Do you happen to know, before Tragic Kingdom comes out in 1995, had her brother already left the band he founded?
I don't think so.
I gotta wonder, which is the better choice? The keyboardist in No Doubt, that made all the money, or animator for The Simpsons, one of the greatest shows of all time?
If you have writing credits on Tragic Kingdom and you cut out just after that,
you're winning across the board. But who knows? He might have already left the band. Tough to say. Maybe he was the one holding everyone back. Maybe she was uncomfortable being terrifically sexy as a front person with her brother standing behind her.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So after this... I'm not the gross one, Garrett. I'm not the one being sexy around my brother.
You're pretty sexy around my brother.
That's right. That's fine. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Nothing weird about that.
Right. After the success of Tragic Kingdom, No Doubt starts to get into sort of more new wave and reggae because they're ska, so that's what they do.
Sure.
And they do that with their next couple of albums, which kind of brings us into 2001.
Where they essentially break up again.
At this time also, she's doing guest vocals for numerous pop singles for other artists, including one by friend of the show and current missing person, Moby.
I'm so glad you saw that. Guys, I just want to take a moment here. We have not heard word one from Moby in months.
It's as if Moby doesn't like us, and Moby likes us, right?
Moby, I think I know what's going... Oh, I know you like Moby. I think I know what's going on here. Last time Moby was here, he spilt red wine all over the carpet. Wasn't his fault at all. Dog knocked into him, red wine on the ground. Wasn't even his. He was holding it for a friend. As you know, Moby doesn't drink red wine. I think he's embarrassed. Moby, Mobes, if you're listening, and I know you are, avid listener, come back on the show. Come on over. We'll crack a couple beers. We'll watch the game. Classic Moby.
We done?
Anyway.
We done with this bit?
I guess so.
She also marries Bush's singer Gavin Rossdale around this time.
They started dating in 1995, but then I don't think they actually got married until like 2002.
Okay.
But pretty much the entire time, they are kind of a love-hate situation. Not really what you would call a healthy relationship. I think part of it might have to do with the fact that if you look at a lot of Gwen Stefani's songs, I feel like they're songs about how she's gonna bang somebody else.
Yes, and we will get to that, including one that I really feel bad for Gavin Rossdale on. But importantly here, we should also mention, not only does she have a shit ton of her own money, she has a lot of Bush money. The band Bush.
Now,
I want to be clear.
Does she? Because I looked. Gavin Rossdale agreed to an uneven split of assets in their divorce. That's how deep we get, Tim. I read the divorce report.
But they were divorced like way after this.
Oh yeah, they didn't get
It was
divorced
like in the
until
2010.
2016.
Yeah. Wait, that can't be right. Didn't she?
Well, it is, my friend.
Oh, you're right, because she started dating the other guy, sexiest man alive,
2015.
Blake Shelton, right. So she's a lucky girl. She had both Gavin Rossdale and Blake Shelton for a year at the same time.
Tim, I have been living in Gwen Stefani's skin for the last week straight, and never once did I think to myself, my, what a lucky girl.
Well, see,
Dude, this is the stuff we talk about. You gotta stop. I can't keep defending statements like that.
I'm not asking you to defend them. I don't think it needs defense. My
that's
point
the problem.
is, she's a very lucky lady who is currently married to the sexiest man on earth. That's not me saying that. I'm not saying Blake Shelton is the sexiest man on earth. The world said it. Earth said it.
I didn't hear you disagree.
I didn't disagree. I'm not the one that gets to pronounce these things. 2004, she releases Love Angel Music Baby, which I think we should call it Lamb from now on, because that's fucking stupid.
I'm of two minds on it. I think I'm just gonna go dealer's choice every time, so we'll see.
LA Music Baby.
Not that.
We'll mix it up. This is an album she would describe as a stupid dance record. And
Yeah, I agree.
right? Also, as she's releasing this album, she launches Lamb clothing line and also Harajuku lovers clothing line / camera / cell phone charms, which I don't know what that is, etc.
Dumb shit to make money, dude.
Right. But that leads me to believe that this whole album is just a marketing ploy to advertise clothes.
You know, that's where I started. It's not that. So I'm not defending that. However, in the research, I did learn that Gwen Stefani over the years, even before she became pop star Gwen Stefani, when she was ska star Gwen Stefani, she made like all of her own outfits. This chick's just super into fashion. So at the bare minimum,
she made an album to advertise her outside interest.
I think the outside interest already existed.
No, I'm not saying it didn't. I'm just saying that she's
Just to help
using
promote.
this to promote her clothing line. It seems to be very successful. Did you read how much money she makes from clothing?
I could only find a number from like 2009, but that number was staggering.
The number I read from Business Insider estimates that she currently makes $90 million a year. That sounds wrong. That has to be wrong.
That's the number I had too,
Good
and it's
God.
been since 2009.
Okay, so what year are we in?
I don't know.
2018. Okay, so that's 9 years. So assuming this started in 2009, that means...
Well, she doesn't make 90 million. It makes 90 million.
Oh.
She makes like 20 million.
Oh. So she's only made $180 million from the... Okay, you know what? Never mind.
Better keep touring.
I take it back.
We're going to need Love Angel Music Baby 2. Lamped. It's a weirdly kind of cut and dry story. There's no mercurial past except for possibly reprogramming to be a Soviet spy and or programming to be, a walking, talking android. And then they form a band with her brother. Brother leaves the band. Dude kills himself. They make a bunch of albums that are successful. She decides she doesn't like that anymore. Leaves. Makes a new album.
That is very successful.
And then a whole bunch of other dumb bullshit to sell people that have too much money.
Sexy men. Well, a sexy man. I don't know what Gavin Rossdale looks like.
Oh, he's a dreamboat.
Oh, sexy men.
That's kind of how we get this band. Let's talk a little bit about this album. How did you feel, in general terms, about Lamb?
It is incredibly stupid. Everything that's on here is real dumb. It mercilessly rips off everything from the 80s without adding anything or commenting. It's the complaint that people had with Ready Player One.
Oh, just nostalgia?
Right, yeah. It's just they're stealing things from the past.
I found that it's an interesting use of the word steal because as I was doing the research, many of the songs describe themselves in the context of other songs or artists. And this can be, in my opinion, a very convenient way to cover up the fact that you have blatantly ripped other people off.
Right, the Ed Sheeran effect.
Yes, the Ed Sheeran effect.
I was trying to make a song that sounds like...
Fill in the blank. Or the Sublime effect.
Yes.
Yeah, we sampled this. Well, if by sampled you mean blatantly stole, then yes, you sampled it hard.
It achieves this very specific sound. It sounds futuristic, but it sounds futuristic in the way that movies and TV shows from the 80s envision the future, which is to say some sort of weird, bizarro version of the future that exclusively focuses on one narrow and very strange aspect of society or music, and then just extrapolates wildly from that.
Yeah, they basically take pop music from the 80s and add a headache in the form of excessive synthesizers. But I agree. I think we should put this album in the appropriate context. When you and I say we don't hate it, I think what we're really saying is we don't hate it for what it is. We can understand this album is a fluff pop album. Even by her own admission, this isn't very good. So you can't take it too seriously. We're not here to try to hold something up to a higher standard than the artist who created it did.
I don't think she was trying to make pet sounds when she did this.
Oh God, I hope not. Although I did find references to Paul McCartney in her efforts that
weird.
Seemed a little highfalutin to me.
I will say she has achieved probably what Portugal the Man's follow-up to Woodstock is going to sound like. So...
Well, that'll be interesting.
Prove me wrong, Gorley. Please prove me wrong. Jesus.
Yeah, don't do this, please. Unless it's nothing but covers of Bubble Pop Electric.
Ooh, yeah.
It's kind of silly. There are a number of songs that I don't think you could get away with today.
Right. It features the most ill-conceived use of sampling I have ever heard on any album. Actually, no. It features the most ill-conceived use of sampling on any album, including ones that I haven't heard. I feel comfortable saying that.
Wow.
It's so ill-advised.
I've been thinking about this album in the context of Gwen Stefani's career, and I never in a million years would have thought when she moved from No Doubt to this, that this would be the catalyst to put her on the road to becoming infinitely more famous and wealthy than she ever was prior. But that's exactly what this did.
Putting her on a collision course for with Lake Shelton.
All right, I'm going to need you to not keep bringing him up.
I'll try.
Let me ask you this. Have you been trying?
Yes.
Ugh, yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
The music in this is bizarre as well.
Super weird.
It jumps to various styles. There's dance music, techno, hip-hop, confusing Asian something, new wave, disco, and it's actually impressive that she's able to put this much variety in an album, but it lacks any cohesion unless the overall theme of this album was just madness. Like, none of this goes together.
Madness. I was going for madness.
You know what? Gwen Stefani, genius album. Well done.
Yeah, mission
This
accomplished.
is your Joker album.
Yeah, the songs really don't go together with the exception of the theme of the Harajuku girls. They seem
And banging in cars. That's another running theme.
Or banging as cars. Cars 5. This time they bang. Wildly unpopular.
Not really. Just wildly unpopular in theaters.
Yeah, just a slightly different audience. I think I don't want to get too further into this. Without further ado, Tim, let's not waste another moment. Are you ready to dig into these songs?
I am.
Song number 1. What you waiting for? The opening to the song is basically a preemptive apology to her band that she is now leaving to become wildly more successful, thanking them for all the great times they had and the wonderful music they created. But go fuck yourself. I am gonna go sing about bananas now.
Yes. I think I would have preferred the album she teases.
When it started, I was like, this isn't what I expected at all. And then starts the migraine. The first mention of the Harajuku girls is in fact in this song. Boy, Tim, sometimes stuff gets said in one of these songs and the first couple listens, you're like, what's a Harajuku girl? I had no idea just how deep I was going to go into the world of Harajuku.
Yeah. I guess we can get into that now.
We can touch on it.
It's a part of Tokyo that the internet describes as being associated with high fashion. I Googled it. I think a better description, honestly, would be an area of Tokyo where everyone dresses like a complete maniac.
Yeah, and so I actually was aware of Harajuku, but didn't know the name. I had heard about this place from somebody, a friend of mine that went to Japan and didn't know about it either until he ended up there and was just like, what in the holy fuck is going on? I have read that Japan lacks any sort of social, cultural history when it comes to fashion. So a lot of it has always been imported from other countries, mostly America, as you would imagine. What's interesting about Japan, as they tend to do, they've gone to making it all kinds of weird, where they just take bits and pieces from everything and they're like, this is what we're doing. So I'm some sort of like vampire transformer.
Yes, with shark fins.
And it's completely normal. I kind of dig it. I mean, again, I'm not going to do it. Okay. Full disclosure, I am currently wearing shark fin.
Me too.
Is yours also so that you can become a Harajuku girl?
Yes, as are the vampire fangs.
Oh, mine is unrelated. Mine's this other podcast I'm doing. It's going to be hard not to harp on this, but I'm going to try to find fun and creative ways to say it. Let's talk about what this song sounds like. Did you have anything jump into your head immediately?
No.
Okay, so I had a couple. First of all, Weezer's Hash Pipe. You got your hash pipe. Anything?
Okay. Yeah, I get it. I wouldn't have thought of it.
The opening to Funky Town. Do, 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 do.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And then just a hint of Gorillaz.
There's a lot of songs on here that I tried to figure out what they sounded like, and the best I can do is usually just, Cyndi Lauper, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta dig deep and have a pretty good history of 80s music.
Yeah,
Lucky
and so I don't
me,
have that. I'm gonna be relying on you for a lot of the what does this sound like, and why does it sound like this?
This one is definitely most similar to Funky Town.
Okay.
I like your theory that the cohesive theme of this album is crazy person. Madness, I believe you call it. Let's call it let's not call it that. Harajuku madness?
I like Japanese madness.
I don't think we should do that.
All right, fair enough. Harajuku.
I don't want to step in the same things Miss Stefani has.
I feel like we already have.
She does have the Harajuku madness. And exemplifying that is the first song where we basically witness a crazy person have an argument with herself.
Yeah, the refrain of "Take a chance, you stupid hoe."
Dude, I laughed for a minute straight.
She does the "What are you waiting? What are you waiting for?" That's repeated 34 times. Good God.
Is it really?
It is.
You know what? I didn't have any time to send the figures out to the lab.
No, I got it out there for you.
Thank you so much. Those boys, I don't think we pay them enough.
How many did you say they were? Telling me this is not their job.
Yeah, I've been hearing the same thing. Listen, you guys have two jobs. Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Why I Hate This Album, Specialty Labs. That is the two things you do.
Some other lyrics here. Like a cat in heat stuck in a moving car. I don't know what that means.
I have never owned a cat, so
yeah, that's true.
Is lost on.
She seems to be great at the... I'm not going to do metaphors. That's not for me.
No, she is not for the metaphor. Now, we will get some metaphors later. I don't want to say that she's metaphorless.
Well, no, but that's the thing. Whenever she goes metaphor, she goes all in on the metaphor, and that's
one of the symptoms of Harajuku madness. I think it's worth saying up top. Is it me, or does it seem as though Gwen Stefani, and maybe this isn't breaking news, tends to lean pretty hard into the baby doll voice and the sex pot persona?
Yeah, and I think that was the Blondie.
Okay, I don't think we can put it all at the feet of Debbie Harry, but I agree, and largely I want to say I approve. However, just in this first song alone, there was far more moaning. I think she's trying to be sexy, but it's also kind of a little girl voice, which I don't find sexy.
I would also like to state I do not find that sexy.
Yeah, so it's conflicting.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't always drift into that territory, but
it often does, sure.
It does. It really does. Anything else you want to say about this one?
Just as an early thing, so far I think Lena Dunham approves. This, despite how fucking insane this song is, might be a song about female empowerment. compliment.
I think so far she approves.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to sign off on this album, though.
No, of course not, because of the racism.
You know what? I'm not sure Lena Dunham is going to have an issue with that.
Okay.
Again,
Lena Dunham, powerful woman, possible racist.
I think she turns a blind eye, allegedly. Anyway, let's focus on the task at hand. Track number 2, Rich Girl, featuring Eve.
I want to say, conceptually, I've got no problem with this song. It's dumb, it's vapid, but it seems really honest. I completely believe this is who she is.
She didn't write this song.
Of course she didn't. It's an adaptation from a Fiddler on the Roof song.
It's a cover of an adaptation of a Fiddler on the Roof song.
Yes.
Arguably Dr. Dre's best produced song.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that.
Very strange.
Super weird. Someone was doing someone a favor. I do know Jimmy Iovine, founder of Beats with Dre, was involved in getting her to record a solo album, so it could have been a whole like, hey, what are you up to, Dre?
I love the na-na-nas. Could listen to that all week. I've been singing it all
You
week.
would love Fiddler on the Roof. You know, we glossed over it.
Oh,
Let's
I love
be a
Fiddler
little
on the
more
Roof. Most musical theater, really.
Let's not skim over this. So the song itself, everything you read online says that it is sampled from a Lucci Lou and Michi One. I don't know who they are. They're British people. Rappers, maybe? Tough to say. They have a song, also called Rich Girl, that is taken from If I Were a Rich Man from Fiddler on the Roof, sung by Tevye, which I'm sure you could have told us.
Yes.
Being such a musical theater enthusiast.
Right.
You know what, Tim? New euphemism. You're a real musical theater enthusiast.
I don't like it.
I'm sure you don't. 9 people contributed to the writing process on this song.
I assume that the Fiddler on the Roof people are getting their share of the profits.
God, I hope so. Okay, at best then, 5 people worked on this song. The cover of an adaptation. So you had 2 songs that were already written. This song's been written twice. The first change was to add the word girl. Instead of saying man, they switched it to girl. And then the second big change that required an additional 5 writers was having it come out of Gwen Stefani's mouth.
Right. My cash flow would never end because I'd have all the money in the world if I was a wealthy girl. I'd get me 4 Harajuku girls to inspire me, which leads me to the question.
Glad you brought this up. Sorry, go ahead.
How much money does it cost to purchase 4 Japanese women, Garrett?
Boy, you asked a much better question.
Right. And I want to say I am asking for a friend.
Of course you are. You are not in the market to purchase Japanese women. I had a more fundamental question. In all caps, in my notes in front of me, it says, you can buy these women?
Yes, apparently.
Again, I am just inquiring for a friend.
You are my
Next
friend.
thing you know, you bring them over, you got the Harajuku madness, you're writing
One of them,
songs.
you buy those women, one of them bites you, next thing you know.
You've got the Harajuku madness.
That's right.
I'd get me 4 Harajuku girls to inspire me, and they'd come to my rescue. I'd dress them wicked, I'd give them names. Love angel music, baby.
And I think that's what's most important about whenever you purchase a human from another culture, it's important to give them a name from the culture you are importing them to so that they feel more at home there.
What better choices than Love Angel music and baby? As I mentioned at the top, the song features Eve, leading to the question, who is Eve?
She owns the clothing line Fetish.
That was a rhetorical question.
She does rap a lot in this song.
Yeah, she is a famed lady rapist.
Yes. My main problem with this song, this maybe wasn't written with her in mind, but she did sing it. She says, if I was a rich girl. If. Garrett,
Okay.
was she not incredibly wealthy? Again, she has a lot of No Doubt and Bush money, plus that clothing line.
It is difficult to listen to an obscenely wealthy person sing about what they would do if they were wealthy. Well, okay, so here's an interesting question.
Right, did she buy those women?
Did she buy those girls?
Right.
Wow, I got there just a half a second after you
Yeah.
because she is in fact a rich girl, and I have not seen her without 4 Asian women in tow in about a decade.
One thing we can say about Miss Stefani, she is a woman of her word. So if she says, if I had money, this is what I'd do. You know.
Better believe she's
Right?
going to buy those ladies. What do you feed a Harajuku?
I'm sure somebody makes like pellets or something. I assume it's mostly horse meat.
Yeah, I mean, at least we know they're going to a good home. They probably have a huge cage, really nice sawdust on the ground, probably changes the water daily, one of those exercise wheels. If anybody's confused, I am fucking joking. Don't buy people.
Yes.
Don't buy people. Don't put them in a cage lined with sawdust.
The official position of the Why I Hate This Album podcast is anti on the question of human trafficking.
Yeah, we had a number of votes. It was close. A few holdouts towards the end, but I think we all came down on the same page.
We're going to get a lot of negative reviews for this. By human traffickers, those who gives a shit, right?
They do comprise of 28% of our listening audience. I screwed up the Facebook ads 1 week. Allegedly, this song is as much about running out of time to be a mother as it is about having money. I don't see how.
Does she feel herself to be the mother to these women she's purchased?
Well, that's certainly better than what we were assuming. I was putting her in some sort of pet ownership scenario.
Well, they can both be true.
That's true. I know a lot of people that call their dogs their children. They are insufferable. All right, let's move it along then. I'm vibrating with excitement.
Yes, I am too.
We are, of course, talking about track number 3, Holla Back Girl. That shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. That shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. How in God's name is this the 3rd single on the album?
Yeah,
I'm listening to this album, and it's not long, I grab that fucker and I'm just like, this is what we start with.
Yeah, in fact, throw the rest of it away.
Yeah, just 12 tracks of Holla Back Girl.
I genuinely love the line, this shit is bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. And it hurts me to say that because we as a podcast disagree with spelling in songs. I think we've made that very clear over the years we've been doing this, right?
Tim, I was blinded by a catchy tune and a sexy music video. I didn't even realize there's spelling in this song. I'm not joking. I have notes on a later song that's like, here we go with the spelling again.
I have the same thing.
But I didn't even notice in this one because I was so fucking excited about that tuba.
Right, and it sounds great. It sounds great. Can I read to you the genius annotation for this shit is bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
It's arguably her most iconic lyric of all time, helping young children everywhere learn to spell bananas. Essentially with this bridge, Gwen became the Aretha Franklin of the aughts.
Okay, obviously they are referencing Aretha Franklin's classic anthem, Respect. That couldn't be a worse comparison. So first of all, in Miss Stefani's song, what is bananas?
This shit.
B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Correct, but what is the shit?
It's hard to say because she repeatedly says, ooh, this my shit, this my shit. I think that's repeated 16 times, but
it is.
She does not define this, I don't think. But we do know it's bananas.
That's true. I can't say, in all honesty, that I don't sing this song when I spell the word bananas.
Right, it's like the alphabet song. I don't know the alphabet unless I sing the song.
Oh, that's not the same as what I'm saying.
It is.
No, your thing is a learning disability.
No.
Mine is an association my brain has made.
I'm sorry, say the alphabet here without doing the song.
A, B, C.
But you're doing it in your head, right?
B. No, I'm on E.
So we don't know what the shit is.
We have no idea what the shit is, which means that you can't in any way consider it an anthem even remotely similar to the song Respect. Because we don't know what this song is about. Speaking of, I learned something today. Okay, so for years, as I have been, playing this in the car, at home, alone, I've wondered, Garrett, what do you suppose a holla back girl is? I just assumed it was a whore.
Because of all the other...
Well, yeah, because of all the other whorish things that she does. And again, super on board.
Right. You're really into,
whores.
Yeah.
No. A holla back girl, Tim, is a reference to cheerleading. Now, did you watch the video?
Yeah.
Did you watch the video? Okay, we'll talk about the video in just a second. In every cheerleading squad, there is the head cheerleader. She provides the holler. And then everybody in the squad returns the call as the holla back. Now, I do think traditionally it's spelled H-O-L-L-E-R, but given that she is in fact rather street, and someday hoping to be a rich girl, she drops the E-R for the far more hip and modern take, calling it a holla back girl. And she is not a holla back girl. She, believe you me, Tim, she is head cheerleader.
I wouldn't consider myself to be a head cheerleader, but I don't think I'm a holla back girl.
You're a classic holla back
That
girl.
doesn't sound right. No, I'm not.
Well, okay.
I'm just not.
That's okay. I'm not going to fight you on this, but do answer me one question. When you and I speak privately on the phone and I have to go or you have to go suddenly, oftentimes you'll say, hey, let me holler back at you in just a moment. You can see how that would be very confusing.
I can, right? Yes. That is probably a poor choice of words given how I would like people to view me.
Mm-hmm. Also, your penchant for wearing pants that say, this shit is bananas on the ass, misleading.
That has nothing to do with this song.
Yeah, that's just a happy coincidence,
Yeah.
friend. Something kind of interesting. This isn't specific to the song, but I did stumble across it. This is the first single in the history of U.S. music sales to sell more digital downloads than CDs.
It holds the distinction as the first song in history to reach 1 million downloads.
This is before the streaming days, and it's even before iTunes had really gone mainstream. The idea that a single would actually sell more physical copies, people are buying a CD to get a song, is absolutely insane. And the fact that it went on as long as it did was a huge surprise to me. I was kind of amused by that. Can we talk about the music video a little bit?
Sure.
This music video on a number of MTV, VH1, and the like was noted to be one of the most played and requested music videos of the whole year. How many people are jerking off watching this?
Not 100%, but not...
But
not
statistically insignificantly
if
less.
you were to round up to the nearest 10, I would say it's 100%. Everyone in it, I believe, to be wearing clothes that she has designed, possibly with the exception of like the cheerleaders, but all the urban clothing.
And it is curious. She is dressed like a early 90s thug.
Right. Yes.
Which is confusing for an incredibly white girl.
Right. But I'm pretty sure this was all, like, you can see the Lamb logo on a lot of, like, the sweatpants, etc.
Boy, you were watching closely.
I mean, it is arousing.
Hey, she's a sexy lady. I'm not here to tell you she's not a sexy lady. And kudos to you for noticing, because I know that's not the first thing that jumps to mind for you.
Rude.
Truth hurts, bud.
Yes, again, rude. But yeah, it's like there's Japanese shit, there's bananas. I believe the school logo is a banana.
Oh man, I wish my high school mascot had been the banana. Even more interesting, it's a peeled banana. Your Arlington Heights peeled bananas. It's a very odd music video featuring her Harajuku girls, which is, again, 4 Asian women she has absconded with from Japan.
Well, in her defense, she purchased them.
Fair and square. Yeah, she's got the deed. Anybody wants to check, she has the bill of sale for those ladies.
I believe it's a title whenever you purchase another human.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. It's been years. All right, without harping on the video too long and sounding extra lascivious, let's go ahead and move it along to track number 4, Cool. Here's a fun tip, straight from the podcast, do with it what you will. If anybody goes to the great lengths to let them know how cool they are with no longer being your significant other, be suspicious. If they write an entire song about it, don't talk to them anymore.
I think it comes off better than Ed Sheeran's douchey version of this.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
This is no Ed Sheeran situation, but let me tell you something. As a former loser, and sometimes avid loser, when somebody's not into you, it is just as damaging to let them know how not into them you are as it would be to profess your love.
This is a safe space.
Sure.
If you have something from your childhood that you would like to share with me and the audience, we're here for you.
Oh, what do you mean?
I assume you have a tragic story.
They're all fucking tragic, dude. I only knew love to be unrequited. As far as I was concerned, a relationship was you and the woman that you wish you were dating.
This was written by Gwen Stefani and co-written by somebody whose name is Dallas Austin. And I looked him up. That's his real name. This is one that I thought was very like Cyndi Lauper-esque. It also sounds quite a bit like Wilson Phillips' You're in Love.
Yes.
Is there anything that you can think of as an 80s music expert that fits this better?
Actually, no. For this one, I was at a loss.
Really?
In fact, this was among my least favorite songs of the entire album.
Yeah, I agree.
It was all very blah to me.
We can move on then to number 5, Bubble Pop Electric, featuring Johnny Vulture, who is the same person as Andre 3000.
Okay, I thought he sounded an awful lot like Andre 3000.
This song stressed me the fuck out. Every time this ended, I felt like I'd been to war. I was exhausted, my heart was racing, I was afraid of where the next noise would come from.
That's your brain actively fighting a seizure.
The only way that I can really describe this is as a skit song. There's both spoken and sung dialogue between the two. It reminds me of, you ever hear no, of course you have, Aqua's Barbie Girl?
Oh, yeah.
This is very much like that.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy. This is an awful lot like Barbie Girl, only I would argue that this one is more serious, or at least they meant it to be. Maybe they didn't. I don't fucking know. But it's a stupid song. But Tim, there's something very important in this song that might stand at the crux of the Lena Dunham argument for this episode. It begins with Johnny Vulture, a.k.a. Andre 3000, a.k.a. Andre Benjamin, saying, "Just get yourself dolled up, all right, Toots?" Toots.
Yeah, that is a little misogynistic.
A little?
Yes, a little. It's not that bad.
Sorry. Do you have your Lena Dunham glasses on?
That's fair. That is an unforgivable sin for which this Andre Bernard, what is his name?
Andre Benjamin.
I
think. I may have made that up.
Okay, whatever. Johnny Vulture.
Johnny Benjamin 3000.
You are not welcome in our culture anymore. Shame on you.
To see him so haphazardly affix this collar of oppression.
He does treat her like an object.
Doesn't he, though?
Yes.
Now, I could say that Lena Dunham could make the argument that she is a willing participant and this is almost just some sort of role play.
I believe that sexist role play is okay, right?
I have to
believe that it is.
I have to hope so.
Yeah, I mean, she seems pretty excited about banging him in the car, right?
Dude, she is super on board. I titled this her Please Come Fuck Me song. Which is not the only Please Come Fuck Me song on the album.
Yeah.
It turns out that Gavin Rossdale was just not getting the job done.
We'll get there. I like the fact that we get a Jeez Louise in here.
Yeah, we do.
And honestly, I kind of liked it because they're going to a drive-in movie. Is that where they're going to bang in the car?
I think so. It wasn't super clear.
Yeah, it kind of fits with a 50s mood. I associate drive-in movies with the 1950s exclusively.
Let me give you a lyric here. Take it to the backseat, run it like a track meet. Tim.
Yes.
Have you ever been to a track meet?
I have. Sexy.
Okay.
No, it's
you
not.
have never been to a track meet. Honestly, I turned to Genius Lyrics for an answer to this, and they let me down. How does one run it like a track meet? I suppose just all very timely? There's a starter pistol involved?
Well, you want to make sure you start on time.
Is there a on time for intercourse?
Yes.
Is there a wrong time for intercourse?
No, maybe. Yes.
That was a trick question. Of course there is. But it's not during Bubble Pop Electric.
No.
I would be remiss to move on without at least addressing the backing track for this. So they're all very lighthearted pop songs. We can agree on that. But the music in this seems like it is actively fighting to overtake Gwen Stefani and become the lead singer, forcing her to become the backup instrument.
It does. Yeah, it's very frantic. It seems like she's switching off lead roles with the music.
It is seizure-inducing. With that said, I don't think I have anything else to say about it, so let's go ahead and move on.
Song number 6, Luxurious, featuring Slim Thug. It features both a spoken intro and outro by Gavin Rossdale before she does a duet with another guy.
To set the mood, if I may, I'm going to read it with a sexy French accent, if that's okay.
That is more than okay.
This love, it is not possible. It is incredible. You make me perspire. It is perfect. How was that?
That was great.
You want to switch back over to that holla back girl, finish things off, and keep going?
I won't need holla back girl now.
Okay. Yep.
The lyrics for this are, working so hard every night and day, and now we get the payback. Trying so hard, saving up the paper, now we get to lay back. I love the fact that she paints herself as some sort of Willy Loman character from Death of a Salesman in this. That's
classic
not a
blue collar.
Yeah.
No.
She was very wealthy, even at this point. There's no factory work, there's no coal mining, there's no door-to-door sales happening.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little disingenuous. For my money, so that it wasn't as ridiculous as you're pointing out, and I do think it was, I kind of took this song to mean that all of this luxury that she's referring to, aside from the opening where she says she gets to kick back now, but it all sort of seemed like a metaphor for the luxuriousness of their love. Is that possible?
Okay, sure. But not her and Gavin Rossdale's love. Her and literally anyone else.
It does seem that way.
Yeah.
And everyone's aware of it except for Gavin Rossdale.
Who's providing sexy intros and outros.
Right. This song took 8 people to write, and I think it shows.
Yeah. Maybe my favorite lyric/genius annotation on this. We're luxurious like Egyptian cotton. Somebody on the internet has written, the name Egyptian cotton is broadly associated with quality products. However, only a small percentage of Egyptian cotton production is actually of superior quality.
That's a great tip. Many times you go to your Bed Bath & Beyonds, your Targets, you're picking up a nice pair of sheets, and people are trained to look for that Egyptian cotton and look at thread count. Guys, I'm here to tell you, thread count and that Egyptian cotton, that doesn't mean dick. You need to get yourself a quality sheet. Feel those sheets. Consider what they're made of. I'm sorry, this is not the Sheets podcast.
No, but another important point that this man makes. Egyptians are liars.
What? I'm sorry, what?
Egyptians. They're liars. They lie about the quality of their sheets.
Okay, yes, that's fair, but I will say that's all they ever lie about. It's a known fact that aside from sheets, Egyptians are 100% truthful.
I feel like you're going too far in the other direction on this one.
Okay, well, let's not waste any time on this garbage pile, because it's really not a very good song. I have nothing to say about Slim Thug.
I didn't bother to even look up who that was. I have no idea.
Doesn't matter.
No, he's a guy that she banged while married to Gavin Rossdale. Apart from that, we know nothing.
Yeah, and we can't prove that aside from the fact that she definitely did. Allegedly. And by allegedly, we mean, of course. Okay, let's get to something far more important. One of my personal favorites. It's no holla back, girl, but it'll do. Track number 7, Harajuku Girls.
The streets of Harajuku.
Was I having some sort of like seizure in this song too, or is there a mewing cat featured very prominently here?
There is a mewing cat.
There's also Japanese girls laughing. That appears to be part of the rhythm track.
Yeah, not since Me Love You Long Time has so much racist Japanese accented women been featured in a single song.
With the exception of no Hello Kitty mentions in this, it's just...
It does feel like all the worst parts of Japanese pornography. and none of the good stuff. And by that I mean it's just a bunch of stereotypical girls giggling and singing about kitty cats and God knows what.
They're her slaves, right? Or pets?
I don't know. If she bought them,
well,
who is
that's
selling
the thing.
them?
Again, I don't know if she thinks of them as pets or slaves. Like, I don't know if she's having them do work.
Or children.
Could be.
You can make your children work.
That's true.
You just can't legally pay them.
No, I don't think that's true.
You know what? I can't get mired down in the details. The
Of
point
child
is, if you
labor,
want a
right.
child to work for you, you're bigger than them. Just make them.
Yes. This is another song that may as well be a Jimmy Buffett song for all the self-referential product placement involved.
Yeah, this is where I actually learned that she had her own clothing line.
Yeah. Did you see your inspiration in my latest collection? Just wait till you get your little hands on lamb.
They do traditionally have smaller hands than Europeans.
So in your mind, you focused in on the little hands.
Well, it seemed rude.
Okay, sure. The parts that aren't self-referential and trying to sell you clothes are still really goddamn superficial and commercial. My boyfriend bought me a hysteric glamour shirt. They're hard to find in the States. Got me feeling couture.
Well, they are incredibly difficult to find in the States.
That's right. We will be selling them on our website for a small markup.
Nope. You have
Then
to stop promising that we can get designer label clothing and put it on our website. Tim,
I
just don't have the connection.
Listen, I bought a lot of them already. If you don't sell them on the website, I am out. I might be ruined.
You're ruined?
Yeah.
I bought t-shirts you bought from Japan.
It's a med school level debt that I am in.
Oh man, those were popular 12 years ago.
God damn it, I'm ruined.
Yeah, you're the worst businessman I know. This did hit me to, speaking of clothing, the Super Lovers store. Japan has way better names for their department stores than we do. I did a little more digging. The Harajuku girls are not only featured in this album. Did you read about how the Harajuku craze has been sweeping the nation?
Is it still sweeping the nation?
No, it has been canceled.
But like they're not doing farm work for no pay currently. Like they released them.
No, they have been released into the wild. Good. But did you read about the hit cartoon Kuku Harajuku?
No, but I feel like my weekend is set.
Yeah, so you have 28 episodes to catch up on. Starting in 2014, Kuku Harajuku was launched for season 1, originally produced in Australia, later picked up by the Nickelodeon network here in the States, and it is about 4 Harajuku girls who fight crime and solve mysteries. They are called the HJ5.
Of course, yeah. Why is it 5?
Tim, you know what? Tim, I'm going to... Oh, maybe it's 5 girls. I don't there might be a robot. It's about 5 girls that go around solving mysteries and fighting crime. They are known, of course, as the Harajuku girls, or for short, the HJ5.
Right, yes. I understand what you're doing. I'm not going to bite.
Come on, man. This one's a home run.
Garrett, we're above that.
No,
We're not we're not going to be making hand job jokes. I hope that's what you meant. Is that what you meant?
Of course it is.
Okay, yeah, we're not a podcast that makes hand job jokes.
Tim, if we're not a podcast that makes hand job jokes, what are we doing here?
We're reviewing music. We're talking
Music
about
that has a hand job joke baked in. They did the heavy lifting.
I assume 5 is the number of fingers involved in the said hand job.
Yeah, you're getting on board. I was going to go with something like, weren't you known by, wasn't that your nickname in the 80s?
It was not. Garrett, I was
What about
5
Canada?
at the end of the 80s, you monster.
Ooh.
Yeah. You made it bad.
You made it bad.
But what, by not being born until 1985, I made it bad? Fuck you. I feel like we're getting off topic. It seems like somebody in the marketing or possibly one of the suits that we're always hearing such negative things about. How is that not caught?
Yeah, that is kind of strange. I mean, I suppose it's a children's show.
Right? Oh, I'm sorry. You were... You mean because they won't get it.
Right.
I meant it was even more inappropriate to have your hand job show for children.
There's no hand jobs in the show. I'm sorry. I think I misled you. It doesn't matter now. It's been canceled. But there were never any hand jobs. I want to be so clear about that.
This is why I wanted just to skip right over your HJ5 thing. You accusing me of being some sort of hand job king of Canada in the 80s?
Well,
you made it weird because you
I have the years
leave.
wrong.
What year were you going to say?
97.
I was 12. That's...
Are you now, or have you ever been the king of hand jobs? Do not lie.
I am not. Okay.
In Canada.
Oh, in Canada.
Of course.
Song 8, Crash. I really hope she's getting paid for... I mean, I know she's getting paid for the lamb clothing references, but she references Kettle One vodka in this and a couple of other things.
I don't think it's product placement. I think she just likes Kettle One vodka. I hope it is. You should be getting paid. This song was written with another man she was banging that isn't her husband. Long-time on-again, off-again boyfriend prior to Gavin Rossdale, Tony Kanal. She wrote this song with him. Once again, we get a pretty firm message. She's a cruising for a banging.
Oh, well, this is the song where she's not banging in a car.
She is a car.
She is a car. Her boyfriend is a
Or
car.
potentially her boyfriend's a car and she wants him to smash into her.
Yeah.
I assume she is also a car.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah.
Right. Otherwise, this is not a song about banging, but rather a song about suicide.
They're gonna look upon it like murder. The authorities always do.
It doesn't matter how many written notes you have. Let me ask you a question, Tim. If this is in fact a large metaphor for intercourse, and I think that we've got a decent amount of evidence that it is, let me read a line for you. Don't forget to make a U-turn. What's a U-turn?
Butt stuff.
Oh.
I assume. I said that with more confidence than was probably warranted, but...
Didn't even hesitate.
I don't know.
I think
yes.
Would you like me to tell you what song this one sounds like?
Push it real good?
Of course it does.
Yes! It's the only one I was certain of. What is that? I don't know what that song is or who sings it.
Salt and Pepper.
Salt and Pepper, okay. That seems too recent. Weren't they like 90s?
Late 80s, early 90s,
Okay,
I think.
fair enough.
Either way, it was before her and she is blatantly ripping it off.
Yes. One line here that I can't not read the Genius annotation. So get here ASAP, it's going to be a party. The acronym ASAP is short for as soon as possible. In this context, Stefani wants the guy to get to her house as quickly as he can. The use of party may refer to a literal party, but alternatively may refer to sex.
No, there's just the one thing. It's a pants party. She's had a party in her pants and wants that car there immediately to U-turn all over it.
Gross.
Her words, not mine.
This song is fucking stupid, right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really dumb. You want to move on?
Yeah.
Track number 9, The Real Thing. This song sounds like many other songs.
Care to name them?
Well, I don't know the names of all of them.
Okay, we'll
So
sing a little
the-
couple bars. and
Sure.
I
The
will-
opening of the song is completely different from the rest of the song, but every time it began, I hear, every time I hear you calling, I get down on my knees and pray. Do you even know that song? Mm-hmm. Then we switched, when we get to the actual song, to Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now.
Yes.
I literally sang that entire song over this song to the chagrin of my girlfriend who was trapped in the car.
Well, in your defense,
Don't get in that car.
But also,
She knows I have this stupid podcast.
Any others, or is it stick with Tiffany for the rest of it?
Nope, there's one more, Tim. By the end, we get to Holiday by Madonna. When you can literally replace words in this song with Madonna's Holiday, Holiday. It matches perfectly.
All right, guess I have to go back and listen to this song.
Let me also say, every one of the songs that I just sang and or referenced, way better than this song.
Oh, sure. You do get some pretty great metaphors, though. You're my love supply, and you're a salty water ocean wave. Gross.
Nothing gives me warm and fuzzies like somebody calling me a salty water ocean wave. That's the perfect metaphor for this next part. So this should have been a real red flag for Mr. Rosdale. If your wife and longtime mother of your children is writing a love song and literally says, "I still love to have you around," that's not a loving home. Oh, don't you just love Gavin? Yeah, no, it's nice having him around.
Yeah, I tolerate him.
Yeah, because like sometimes I can't pick up the kids, or like I need to go hang out with the Harajuku girls or clean their cage. Boy, you know what? I can't speak to the fate of the Harajuku girls.
Yeah, I assume Blake Shelton's not allowing a series of captive Asian women in his home.
Or they had to get a bigger cage so that they can make room for both their Harajuku girls. I don't know what they have in common, Tim.
The love of music.
No,
hatred of
that's
Gavin Rossdale? Maybe at some point Gavin Rossdale angered Blake Shelton, like that time that Obama made fun of Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and so Blake Shelton was like, I'm going to take Gavin Rossdale's job.
He was just like, whatever, my wife loves me. She likes having me around. Let's move it along to track number 10, Serious.
I don't know when the danger came. I wanna find
In case you didn't believe that she was in love with someone in the last several songs, here's yet another one to let you know she's in so much love.
I think I'm coming down with something. I know it's going to need your medicine. Who calls his penis the medicine? It's not Gavin Rossdale.
No.
It's a mystery penis.
Aren't they all?
You know me. I'm no prude. In fact,
No.
if anything, I veer too far into the opposite lane on that one. But calling your penis the medicine's pretty gross, right?
Is it the medicine or your medicine?
I mean, I assume he does what Troil does, in the thunder, the medicine.
Oh, the medicine.
Yeah,
no, it's pretty gross.
yeah, right.
Conversely, let's put ourselves into that role for just a moment, Tim, because I think too often we become victims of only looking at things through a male perspective, and I think we can both agree Lena Dunham would never approve of that.
No.
So let's just assume for a moment that we were dating a lovely woman, for the purposes of this episode, Miss Gwen Stefani. If she referred to sexy time as getting your medicine, would it bother you?
I don't think so. But
I didn't think so.
here's the thing. If she referred to her penis as the medicine, I'm back to being upset.
Sure. Nobody... I feel like that's a different thing altogether.
I'm upset for a different reason.
Okay, I guess it's a bit of a double standard. Sorry, Lena. I wouldn't care at all. Before we move along, great opportunity here. Folks, write into the show, hatepodmail@gmail.com. Write in if you have an idea as to whose penis this might be. I would love to know. Track 10, Serious. Whose penis is that?
We want words only.
Oh, God,
no
yeah.
attachments.
Will not open attachments. I don't care if it's labeled puppies. I'm not falling for it. That's definitely going to be dicks again.
Stop sending us dicks.
Or just send them to Tim.
No, I don't want them either.
So let's talk about what I thought was the only instance of spelling on this album. She spells serious. I won't dwell on it aside from the fact that this is always the cornerstone to a shitty song. If you're spelling in your song with the exception of the word bananas, your song is not good.
Agreed. Song number 11, Danger Zone.
be up in a mess, a danger zone. What will happen?
What a weird take on Kenny Loggins, right?
I was so angry. I thought we were headed straight into the greatest cover of all time.
Harajuku girls shrieking about Highway to the Danger Zone. We also have the annoying trope of complaining about how hard your awesome life is. This one, she tempers it just a little bit. She says, I can't imagine how hard it must be to be you. Adopting all your history, it's hard being me too. First of all, no, it's not, Miss Stefani. But at least she's admitting that somebody else might be having an equally hard time. She doesn't have it the worst in the world.
True. Which many of the albums we've done on this show, it's just like the modern politician who somehow all grew up poor. Literally everyone seems to have had really hard times if they wrote an album.
We've never done an album from a female artist. So perhaps whenever she says it's hard being me, she means it's hard being a female. And then now, if
Tim,
that's the case, yeah.
Thank you. My gosh, sometimes, despite my best efforts, I find myself falling into the tar pits of toxic masculinity again and again.
Yep, you do.
You have opened my eyes. Continue.
Our maleness has blinded us to how hard it might be to be a female that makes approximately $20 million a year from a side project, essentially.
It's a man's world. What can you say? Yeah, she accidentally makes like $20 million a year. Good for you, Gwen. Track number 12, one of my personal favorites, Long Way to Go, featuring Andre 3000, a.k.a. Johnny Vulture.
And, inexplicably, Martin Luther King Jr. I have so much to say about this. It's so insane.
I just want to say, before we get into the
sure.
details, if you'd have told me around track number 10, you have yet to get to the most offensive song, I would have said you're crazy. Because, there's all that racist Asian stuff. And the ladies in cages, etc., etc.
Yeah, there's human slavery before this.
But here we are.
The intro to this is a spoken word. We've got a long way to go. When snow hits the asphalt, cold looks and bad talk come. We've got a long way to go. It's beyond Martin Luther. Upgrade computer. What
There's
the
so
fuck
much
is
to
that?
say here.
Yes.
I can tell you. I can tell you every word of what it means, and it is insane.
This is not the worst part of the song, but go on.
No. When snow hits the asphalt, cold looks and bad talk come. Do you know what that means?
So this is a song about interracial dating.
Love.
Right. So snow and asphalt, black and white, I'm guessing?
Yeah, for whatever reason, that metaphor tickled me to no end. The idea of calling a white woman snow and a black man asphalt. Now that I'm saying it out loud, let me be super clear. It's not okay.
This reminded me of two things, just stylistically what this sounded like. One of the things, Dead Weather, Sea of Cowards.
Yes, it is very reminiscent of the Dead Weather spoken word efforts.
The thing that's even better, though, the spoken word intro to the Spinal Tap song Stonehenge.
That is a great
It's perfect. In ancient times, hundreds of years before the dawn of history, lived an ancient race of people, the Druids.
Never in the history of music has a single word been so important for me to understand what this fucking song is about. And do you know what that word is, Tim?
No.
It's a proper noun. King. You should really include king. Otherwise, I spend half the song trying to figure out what this has to do with the Protestant Reformation. Let me ask, maybe I'm fucking naive, but I live in Texas. Is interracial marriage still a hot button item?
I don't think so. As far as I know, it's not. I don't think people are going to be giving you dirty looks if you're walking around with somebody of a different race.
God, I hope not.
I'm not going to say racism isn't a thing or that there aren't some people that are going to not be okay with a black and a white person dating, but I don't think it's a societal thing.
We ask folks to write in, and you guys do, and it's fucking hilarious. But I'm curious. This is a real legitimate request. If you are part of an interracial relationship, write in hatepodmail@gmail.com or go to the website hatepod.com. You'll find a contact sheet there. You can just write us a quick note. If you are part of an interracial relationship, let me know. Is this a fucking problem? Like, are people still being shitty?
As a corollary to that, if you are a racist that hates people that are in interracial relationships, write in too. We want to hear your side because there's good people on both sides.
Nope.
Our president's a monster.
Our president is a monster.
Okay, so here's another little thing. Beauty is beauty, whether it's black or white, yellow or green, baby, you know what I mean. Now, I wasn't sure what that meant, so I went to Genius Lyrics, and they enlighten us. Yellow refers to the race of Asians, while green...
That's not how anyone's ever said that, but okay.
While green refers to the race of people from, you ready for it? Netherlands or Persia. Now, I assume that racist would make a huge distinction between people from the Netherlands and Iran. I know our racist jackass of a president does that specifically, but also, is green a thing? Like, are people...
Yeah, you're blowing my mind. First of all, okay,
I've
so
heard
first of
yellow,
all...
like that's...
I've heard
it's
yellow,
awful,
we know
but
yellow.
Sure, yeah, but...
Sure, I have known some racists, and I have never once seen them either attack the Netherlands as a whole country.
No, in fact, if there's anywhere we want people from in this country, according to some.
Well, that's because they have those good immigrants, Tim.
Right, the white ones. I feel like that's what he was going for.
That does seem to be what he was driving to. Yes. So, first of all, they're not green.
Yes.
And then second of all, let's pretend for a moment there is racism towards the Netherlands. They're not green.
Yeah.
And then finally, to your point, maybe the most important, those two different groups of people could not be more disparate.
In terms of culture or in terms of what a racist would think of those two groups. Hashtag is green a thing? If you hate the Greens, let us know.
I assumed it was like a clever way of referring to the rich.
I don't think so. I
Well,
don't.
no, it's not. It's
okay.
people from the Netherlands. We have
Or
been told.
Persia. Or Persia.
Or Persia. I like that they mentioned Persia.
She poses the question, what if Picasso only used one color? Now, I ask you, Garrett, could you have picked a worse artist to make that line about? The guy who had a...
Literally known for his color period.
Right, he had a specific period where he famously and brilliantly based everything around one color. Say Van Gogh, say anyone else. Literally anybody else.
God, these things were not written in a vacuum. There is a whole team.
And fun fact, 2004, internet was around.
It was in full effect. Yeah. Now let's get to your favorite part of the song.
Yes.
Arguably, and by arguably, I mean definitively without any equivocation, the most offensive part of this song.
Right. She samples Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. The outro is literally just the I Had a Dream. We've discussed this before. You get to be like the weird EDM / techno-y kind of music, or you get to have Martin Luther King audio clips spliced into your song. Not both. Was that the rule we landed on?
That is where we landed.
Okay.
You can make references to Harajuku girls and banging in the backseat of a car. But the moment you do either one of those things, you no longer get to take a self-serious approach to racism, including historical recordings of one of the greatest civil rights leaders in American history.
Said another way, you can't buy human beings and keep them as literal slaves. And quote Martin Luther King.
I'm going to put forward a controversial theory. I don't necessarily believe this, but based upon the facts we're presented in this song, is there a chance that the Harajuku girls are not in fact Japanese women? That they are perhaps, and I don't have an alternative for you, maybe you can help me, they are some other species that would allow her to own them while simultaneously making a vapid and half-hearted attempt to address interracial relationships.
I don't think so, because we've seen them. They're in her music videos. She brought them around. I don't know if she had leashes. I assume she didn't have leashes, but...
God, I hope she didn't have leashes.
She wandered around with...
What if these are just highly trained bears?
No, I don't think they're bears. Have you seen a shaved bear, Garrett? It is horrifying.
Yeah, it really
to
is
our audience,
nightmare-inducing.
Don't look up shaved bears. Some of you have messaged us on Facebook or Instagram or emailed us and said that you have looked up merkins, you've looked up Mr. Hands. Somebody looked up Mr. Hands. Don't look up a shaved bear. Learn your lesson from your horrible mistakes in the past.
Guys, we've done the hard work for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to listen to this album. You don't have to look up shaved bears. And for the love of God, don't watch a video of a man being murdered by a horse. I'm not convinced these aren't shaved bears. Anything else you'd like to say about Long Way to Go, which I would venture to say is a terrible title?
I mean, we do probably have a ways to go on the old racism. I just learned that green was a thing. So
yeah, you got a whole new group to hate.
Goddamn Netherlandians.
That can't be right.
Nailed it.
How did this album do?
It didn't do as well as the albums we typically talk about, at least at first. This debuted...
But in no way would you call it a failure.
Absolutely not. This debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200 chart. It sold 300,000 copies its first week. It peaked at number 5.
Did you happen to look at the other albums that were ahead of this album during that week?
No, I didn't.
They are telling. Ahead of her were, from the number 1 spot and leading back to Angel Sex Monkey House. What is this called? Angel Baby Music Monkey?
Yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Number 1, Mariah Carey. Number 2, System of a Down.
Ooh.
Number 3, Audio Slave. Number 4, Toby Keith. It is very telling of the complete and utter shit show that popular music was in the mid-aughts.
Yeah.
It's very easy to understand how this thing sold 7 million copies worldwide.
Sold 4 million in the US.
Good God.
And this was the 72nd best-selling album of the 2000s, and it is the 87th best-selling album by a female musician of all time. This was nominated for 6 Grammys.
It was nominated for 1 Grammy one year and then another 5 the next. That's so crazy. Thus, reconfirming my theory, the Grammys mean nothing.
All right.
Well, I'm just saying, for an entire awards show dedicated to music, and the two of us who spend arguably 30 hours plus a week listening to music we don't even like, still managed to go, yeah, I don't want to watch that.
The professional reviews here, Pitchfork was the lowest, as it always is, and they gave it a 5.1 out of 10. But overall...
That seems fair.
Yeah.
Like, if you were judging this just solely as a music album, not as a mid-aughts Gwen Stefani solo vehicle that is a pop album, just against everything out there, it's about a 50%.
Yeah, as long as you ignore the racism.
Well, it depends. How do you view racism?
Metacritic, they gave it 71% for whatever that's worth. We should play the Robert Christgau game.
Got a Christgau.
We do. So this one will be on a scale from tiny little bum through 4 stars.
Because we haven't played the Christgau game in a bit, I'm going to sum it up very fast. Robert Christgau is a longtime music critic. He has written for every major publication there is. Unfortunately, he is a crazy person, and 99% of the time, his reviews, first of all, have nothing to do with music, and second of all, have absolutely no window into what the rating he is going to then give to that album at the end. So, the Robert Christgau game is Tim will read me the review, and then I will try to guess what Robert Christgau thought of the album, as he just mentioned, from a tiny bomb, meaning bad, all the way up to 4 stars.
Okay, so Robert Christgau says, turns out the problem wasn't ska per se, it was No Doubt. And then he recommends Bubble Pop, Electric, and What Are You Waiting For?
He clearly likes this album more than he likes No Doubt, which is weird. Typically, I would go 4 stars. Robert Christgau gave this 3 stars.
Robert Christgau gave this 3 stars.
Yes! That's how you play the Robert Christgau game. I am inside the mind of an idiot.
Yes, you sure are. There are 963 reviews on Amazon. They average 3.8 stars, so we'll say a B, B minus, somewhere in there. Review the first. It's called People Have No Idea. Anybody who is out there hating on Gwen is plain silly. First of all, these reviews are people's personal opinions. It's not as if they're reviewing for Rolling Stone or something, so people should stop referring to other people's reviews who they disagree with negatively. There's no need to be vicious.
Okay, hold on. This is clearly a review about reviews.
Hold on. He's prefacing it.
It's a he?
Yes. There's no need to be vicious. That being said, anybody who gave this CD a bad review is a moron. Gwen gives us something that pop music has been missing for years. Some pop music with substance. A lot of artists out there put out mindless pop CDs, but the lyrics on this CD, while some of the tracks are purely for fun. That's not a sentence, sorry. Just realized that. There is some really in-depth looks at Gwen as a person, just as much, if not more, than on some No Doubt discs. Thank you,
Probably.
Mark McLaughlin from 2004.
I love that he goes to great pains to tell people to chill the fuck out and be nice, only to then go and insult everyone, and then pick out the one quality about this album that is not true. If you had to summarize this in one sentence, Tim, would you be able to do so without including the phrase pointless lyrics?
If I used the word soulless, I believe I could, yes.
I think the only way I could get around it is if I included the words car fucking. Excellent. What else you got?
This is by Boxo Dreams, written in 2005. It's called Bubble Pop Electric. How much of this percolated and bubbled up out of Gwen's hot little head is for somebody else to answer. But the seamless blend of musical forms, from 50s backseat makeout pop to modern powered balladry to tough beat raps with bubblegum snaps to guitar rock to Japanese bop till you drop, this is the one. The tightrope walked here is a thin line between insufferable and irresistible, and the latter wins out every time. It is nearly flawlessly produced for a modern pop record. It might just be the album of the year, and that wouldn't be a shame. You've got to pull for this girl. If Love, Angel, Music Baby, and American Idiot are the sounds of young America right now, maybe we're not in such a bad place after all.
Where did these people come from? Granted, you and I are doing the exact same thing. Let me start with a compliment. Well written.
Yeah.
How do you say album of the year and then also say parts of it are insufferable?
No. The tightrope walked here is a thin line between insufferable and irresistible, and the latter wins out every time. I think what he's saying is, I assume it's a he.
She manages to avoid being
right. Yeah. It's just on that line where, like, if it was anyone else, these weird sounds would be, weird. But in an expert hand like Gwen Stefani's, it's genius.
The other times that I've witnessed people wrangle 4 Japanese women, ship them over to America, and force them to dance behind them, it's just gone haywire. It's looked like a real mess. A less skilled hand would look ridiculous. I agree.
Okay, I've got one more good one. This is by Nicholas Carroll in 2005. It's a 5-star review called A Confection of Pure Musical Delight. Gwen Stefani does something to me. I don't know what it is, but she has a unique and seductive style, a great sense of fashion.
It's an erection.
A great sense of fashion, and has an incredible ear for infectious grooves. She was the best thing about No Doubt, and I'm glad she decided to experiment with more diverse sounds in ways that surpass anything Madonna is currently capable of doing.
Shots fired, Madonna. I mean, she's definitely trying to be Madonna. This is something that's kind of interesting. It's pre-Lady Gaga, so I definitely think she's filling that void as well. Her timing couldn't have been better. But that dude is gross. He's definitely writing about his boners and trying to make them sound classy. Ooh, band name, call it Classy Boner. Last one.
Okay, so this is a 1 out of 5 stars called This Turley Is a Tragic Kingdom.
It turley is.
Yes, by Edward J. Kovacs III.
Edward J. Kovacs III.
Yep. I'm a big No Doubt advocate. The fact that the gorgeous and gifted Gwen Stefani was behind this album forced me to give her the benefit of the doubt. Pun intended. I'll never ever forgive Gwen for releasing 1, such a horrible, talentless, and greedy little album, and 2, putting the song Bubble Pop Electric out for people to hear. The only reason anyone would ever purchase this album is because it's Gwen Stefani. If this were a newcomer, we would all laugh until they died. That doesn't make sense.
Wait, what? That's not a thing society does.
Let it go.
Everybody just keep... just keep laughing. They'll die soon. Just keep laughing.
Gwen has fallen victim to the disease known as, I'm now a big star and have forgotten where I come from. I'll just take the easy way out and make some more money by releasing the most talentless effort ever. There are no proven cures for this disease, but having fans wake up and realize their mentor has sunk to such a level...
Is this guy saying that Gwen Stefani was a mentor of his?
I don't know. She's a mentor, but then she's fallen victim to the disease that features 52
we've been saying
words.
that this whole episode. Yeah. She's got Harajuku madness.
Yes, because she was bitten by a Japanese slave that she owns.
Or potentially a shaved bear.
It was Turley, a tragic kingdom.
It Turley was. That guy seems like a real sourpuss. We know what the critics say. We know what the average man says. We've done the research. Who's this album for?
Definitely just white people.
Yeah. Well put. I think it is for tween daughters of teenage moms in the 90s.
That's a complicated sentence.
Yeah, people that were teen moms in the late 90s when the emergence of Britney Spears, and now have children just old enough to begin to be interested in the same type of music. You haven't gotten your Lady Gagas yet, and Madonna is an old bitter woman that should not be paid any attention to at this point.
That's a very specific group.
Well, I've given it a lot of thought. Basically, she's a filler, right? She came at just the right time.
Yeah.
If this came out today, I think it would actually be mocked. Aside from the overt racism, let's ignore that for a moment. But I think that your Rihanna's, and as much as I hate to say it, Chris Brown's, etc. This is modern day pop music. I know people won't agree, but it is. That's what's on the radio. While it's not for you or I, it is way better than any of this stuff.
So,
final thoughts, Tim?
I mean, it's beyond Martin Luther, definitely. Upgrade computer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to say that I listened to this, and next week I won't be singing it, but that's not true. And
no, you'll be singing at least one song.
I won't be able to ever forget it, because over the past week, I've replaced my entire wardrobe with lamb clothing. I'm starting to believe, and worry, I guess, that this album might be in my head. It might be there for a while.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Did you happen to notice, does she make clothing for men?
The ones I bought do not appear
Any
to fit.
Clothing can be clothing for men if it's big enough.
If it's on a man.
Oh, God, that's funny. And I guess accurate. I will say it's slightly worse than I expected. I thought it would be a little bit better. Okay, with that out of the way, I think we've done our due diligence. Here we go. Tim, do you hate this album?
I don't. It's bad. It's bad music.
All right, so we can add this to the love column for you. I don't hate it. I'm never going to listen to it again, except for Bananas, of course. I may listen to that as soon as we get done with this. But yeah, I don't hate it. I can't hate it. It's like going over to a friend's house and they ask you to take your shoes off and you refuse to do it. We're in her house, so you must be respectful of her rules. Now, with those rules, some of them are going to be stupid, like don't feed the Harajuku girls. But they're her rules. It is a throwaway pop album with a very sexy music video that I have no issue with whatsoever.
Now, we should say, you love it, I love it, neither of us hates it. However, it should be hated. Just gonna throw that out there.
Sure. Don't go listen to this based on our recommendation. If you want to watch the Holla Batgirl video, go right ahead. I'm not some square telling you can't enjoy yourself, but this album is bad. You love it, I don't hate it.
You love it as well. You love it, I love it, we love it. As a podcast, we are endorsing everyone go out and listen to this album.
I literally just got done saying, don't go out and listen to this album. It's like you're not even listening. I have been your host, Garrett Harvey.
I've been Tim Richardson.
The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that we has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.